Hi, folks. Dave Schmidt here. Hey, it's Tuesday, April 7th. And first of all, I want to just say thank you to all of you that have sent comments because, today is my birthday. And it's been wonderful. All the wonderful comments that you've been bringing. Thank you very much. I was sharing with a friend, if there's any one downside to a day like today, it's the fact that I've already received over about 150 different comments, a lot of them on Facebook, some of them in email, and that, then you have to go through it. And I do. I respond to all of them. So that's been keeping me busy most of the day today. Well, this week, though, there's a few administrative announcements I want to bring to you, is that as I had mentioned about 1 month, 2 months ago, the whole issue of project funding has been shifted to the True Vision of Peace team. Now, last Thursday, I was talking with the ambassador. And before I get into about the issue of the projects also, would you please be praying for him? He's been going through some health issues. He's been in and out of the hospital. He's been going through a lot of testing, and he's also been under a great deal of stress recently. So he's needing to just kind of slow down a little bit to kind of get his health back under control. And so we talk on a regular basis all the time. But in the last couple of weeks, I've kind of said, hey, you don't need to talk with me all the time because I want you to get the rest that you need to get. So we've only been talking about twice a week instead of the normal 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week that we actually talk. And with that note also, in the next 1 to 2 weeks, there's a very high probability Charlotte and I will be traveling to Europe to meet with him again because we're going to be talking face-to-face about some potential upcoming issues. Now, but the projects. We started this whole process last fall, and it is all unfolding now. The ambassador himself with that team has put together a process. Now, please, you need to give them a little bit of time because they're all volunteers. They all work regular jobs, and they're all having to put in a lot of extra time on this, and they're working extremely hard to bring this about for you. But they had set up a process where you have the ability to be able to get in line to be interviewed, to have an interview with the ambassador. And they will then take a look at your project, and he will either move it forward or say, no, it needs a little more work to be done. And what he had said in my conversation I had with him last week is we are about 2 weeks away from funding the projects. So you want to know what? It's starting. There are projects that are actually going to get funded. Now, please don't send me your emails about what is and what is not, because I have nothing to do with the administration of the projects. All of that is being handled by the team. You can go to the truevisionofpeace.com website, and the directions are there, the instructions are there, the comments are there. Now, right now, the people that get to be in line for the projects are basically coming from 2 groups. One is those that we had promised that because you were a part of what I called the beta testing team that had attended either the Orlando or the Cleveland workshops, and then those who have gone through the workshops that Gwen Caldwell has been conducting. Those are the ones that are in the process of being right now, they're looking at. Now, they're not looking at your proposals. They will consider it if you first get yourself enlist. Please follow the instructions that are there because it helps them a lot, because otherwise you're just taking up a lot more of their time and it's really burdening them with volume that they just cannot handle at this time. Go to the website, read the instructions, be ready to have your business plan together. Those are the things that you will need to have done if you want to have project funding. And I've already received emails from some saying they're excited because it looks like their projects are going to get funded. The process is underway. Now, the other thing is, we started my communications with, the Dragon family in July of last year. And we've all been waiting and hoping, regardless if it's projects or dinar, RV or whatever, we've all been hoping and waiting. And I have clearly been saying since that time there will be no funding of either projects or RVGCR until a couple of things took place. Number one is that the cabal themselves, and I use the term neutered, they had to be in a position where they could no longer be in power to carry out the things they want of basically stealing the money, taking the money, and their power and their control. The second thing was there had to be a financial system that was safe and secure to release these funds into. And in the last couple of weeks, we have seen huge, major shifts of those things taking place. That creation of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, as an Asian International Investment Infrastructure Bank, AIIB is what it is. That bank has been huge in the shift and change. Now, you're not going to hear this from CNBC or Bloomberg Business News or Fox Business News talking a lot about this. But really what's happening behind the scenes is that organization is in the process of replacing the IMF and the World Bank. And if you notice, the United States didn't join. That is huge. Because what that is, it's neutering the power of the cabal. Now, what does that also mean? It also means that there's progress that is being made. Now, I can't go into details, but in the discussions I've had with the ambassador, there is the potential for some new things coming up in the next couple of months. That's exciting. Now, prior to that, though, in this meantime, in all these months, we've been waiting. And I've been talking about this being a journey of faith. I've been talking about some of you are responding very well. And I've also said that some of you are beginning to not believe, to fall away, and to think this is all just a bunch of BS. Well, it's interesting because, see, when I have a newsletter list with about 10,000 names on it, it's always interesting to see the responses that I get back in the emails. And some of these responses can be diametrically opposed on complete opposites in their reactions to a simple statement that I might make. Let me use an illustration. Last week, at the beginning of the video part of the newsletter, I came out with an April Fool's joke. Now, those who were observant really caught on, because if you notice, when I start my newsletters, I always say, "Hi folks, this is Dave Schmidt," and I give the date. And if you noticed last week, I said, "Hi folks, this is Dave Schmidt," and then I immediately go in to talking about things happening in the RV of the dinar that I've been saying for months was never going to happen, and I'm saying it's about ready to happen. And then I say, April Fools. Here's what was interesting. A lot of you caught it right away. And you said, "You got me on it. Oh, it was great." Or, "I caught it right away. I knew what you were doing." But here's what was also interesting, on how many of you were deeply offended by that joke. You said it created great distress for you. You said what I did was unprofessional. I was basically taking advantage of people, and that I was creating a great amount of distress and pain and anxiety in their lives by starting out like that and then saying it was a joke. The interesting thing in all that is what is called perception. See, regardless of what I might say or what someone else might say, it always comes down to our individual choice of how we choose to perceive what someone else is saying. And it's out of our perception that we create a projection. And all this comes in with our thoughts. And our projections is what creates how we experience the event or our world around us. For all of you that have attended my workshops, which is now well over 1,000 people, you know that I start out at the very beginning saying this whole process is not about getting rich. It's about you and I being able to be on the receiving end of these funds to help change our world. Now, does that mean that you don't get to use some of this for yourself? Oh, no. Absolutely you do, because, see, the first world you need to change is your own. I want to change mine, and you will want to change yours, and bring yourself into a place where you are more comfortable, you are more at rest, you don't have anxiety around money, but more than all of that, you've come to the place of being in peace. For months, I have been talking about the importance of how we think. And we're starting to understand and move into a world now where even our science is able to tell us the power of our thoughts, what our thoughts create. And they send out these, what are called these memes. They're like electromagnetic little tiny data bits of information. They send them out to our environment around us, kind of like a cell phone transmission in so many words, but they're electromagnetic. And what they send out, they are magnetic. They attract similar memes on the same frequency level and then bring them back to you. That's called the law of attraction. In the Bible, it's called you reap what you sow. What you put out, the types of memes you put out are the memes that you will receive in return, and they will come back and have that same impact upon your life. And that's why perception is extremely important. Because see, the joke last week, if you perceived that with laughter, with joy, with fun, then that's what you put out and that's what you got back. But if you perceived it with anxiety, despair, anger, other words I could come up with, what would be low level frequency memes, that's what you perceived, and then that's what you projected, and that's what you got back. You see, I nor anybody else has the power to determine how you are going to feel or perceive a statement. All of us, myself included, we are the only ones who have the power of our perception. And then we take our perception and then we project it out with thoughts. We project those thoughts outwardly. And when they get projected outwardly, that is what we are doing in creating the world around us. There has been one goal I've had through this whole process, and that's to help us collectively change our world. And we collectively change our world by projecting very positive outcomes of our memes to help others, to help other people. That's the real issue around this money. Now, can a large sum of money that came your way, $1 million, would that change your life? Oh, absolutely. Would it alleviate a lot of anxiety issues around money? Absolutely. Would it let you possibly retire and leave a job where you feel a slave to? Absolutely. And would it also be able to bring a lot of joy and happiness because you could visit family, go on vacations, purchase things that you've always wanted to have? Oh, absolutely. But all of those are just temporary. Because see, underneath it all, the most important thing is allowing ourselves to be in the position of true peace. Because you see, if there's still anxiety around money, then the money will only become a temporary Band-Aid because we haven't taken care of the underlying anxiety, of the energy of those types of thoughts. That has not been healed, is what it is. It hasn't been cleared out. The most important thing that we can do is always be working toward recognizing what we need to do to bring ourselves to this position of peace. Because when you've taken care of the peace first, then money becomes a very powerful instrument to help change the world. If you haven't brought yourself to the place of peace first, then money is only going to amplify whatever is going on in your life. If there's anxiety, it will amplify the anxiety. If there has been fear, it will amplify the fear. If there is peace and love and joy, it will amplify the peace and the love and the joy. I'm always amazed at how many of you write and you say, I want to do this, I want to help this, I want to create this, I want to do this because I want to see a better world. Those are all great things, and those are all great intentions. But the real important thing is to make sure you're in the position of peace first, because when you do that, that is the energy that you are projecting that then helps facilitate those things in coming about. If you aren't in that position first, then attempts to do those quite often will not become accomplished. It's the same principle of why 90% of all new small businesses fail, because the individual or the small business entrepreneur has not first taken care of what are called foundational issues to make sure that the business would be successful. And for us, the most important thing in the foundational issue is taking care of and allowing ourselves to be in that position to heal any of the fears, the anxieties, the worries, the angers, or the apprehensions around money, and allow ourselves to be in the position of peace. One of the things that I've always had in the thoughts in the back of my mind is the blessing in disguise about this taking far longer than what we had hoped for is it's allowing a lot of us to be in that position, to develop that, to take care of those issues. And many of you have sent me emails that that's exactly what has been happening in your life. You look back to where you were 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 10 months ago, and you say that I'm much more peaceful now. I feel like I'm much more ready now to be able to handle $1 million, $5 million, $10 million. It says, I look back and I realized if I had had this 8 months ago, 10 months ago, there would have been a lot of anxiety in my life about what am I going to do with this money. I'm more solid, I'm more focused, I'm more peaceful, I'm more ready. That's the position that we need to be in if we truly want to be trailblazers in helping to change our world. Now, you want to know what, folks? I'm going to tell you what is my opinion. We are the trailblazers of the family releasing a lot of these funds. But you want to know what? This is just the tip of the iceberg. This isn't something that's going to happen just once and it's going to be done. This is something that will continue on for years to come, because the bottom line in all of this is the releasing of funds to bring a complete change to our world. Now, the family decides that. The elders decide that. I don't have anything to do with that. And I only get to be the messenger of what comes from a small part of that family as I am perceiving it. And what I'm wanting to do is project to you that there's hope, that there's desire, that there's intention, and that there's mission and purpose around these funds, whether it be through projects or whether it be through an RV. The projection of your perceptions are extremely important, because how you deal with that determines, again, how we experience our world around us. And if we wish to change our world, we really all of us, including myself, we need to be in touch with our thoughts and our perceptions and the projections we're putting out there. There's a quote that comes out of A Course in Miracles, and it says, "Seek not to change the world, but seek to change how you view the world." Why is that? You can attempt to change external events of the world, but never change the foundation. And in changing an external event, you may have, yes, temporarily taken care of an issue, but it's like putting a Band-Aid on the cause, and it's only a temporary fix because that energy of underlying of what's creating the problem hasn't been changed. But when you change how you view that, it's in the viewing, it's in the perception that creates the change in the energy. Now, how is that? Remember, perception is a matter of thoughts. We're projecting these memes, these electromagnetic energy data bits, and when they go out there, if they're very high positive energy, they have the ability to shift and override negative low energy means. High energy, high vibration is light. Low energy is darkness. And light will always overcome and change darkness. So it's in our viewing, it's in our perceiving, And it's in our projecting that we really create the foundation to bring about the change that we want. The Bible talks about that as faith, is what it is. Jesus talks about faith a lot throughout the Gospels. And he says it's the importance of faith. Your faith is what has saved you. Your faith is what has healed you. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. Hebrews chapter 11, verses 1, it says, what is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We're projecting out what it is we hope for, what we want to perceive. And as we do that with very strong, powerful statements of love, compassion, and hope, and good intentions, that's what we change. That's why the Course in Miracles says, seek to change how you view your world. Let it be what you want it to hope it to be, not necessarily what you are choosing to perceive. We can have an event that is happening around us that the world may call evil. If you choose to perceive it as evil, then you will project evil memes, thought patterns, and attract that back. If you choose to view it for what it can be, as being very positive, and look beyond the evil and see the heart of the intent, and that behind that evil is really people who have a need to be loved. And see it as that, and that you start projecting love toward these evil people, then that is what we will bring about. We do that collectively. We may experience it as an individual in our own individual world. We may experience it with a group of people that we come around with. And all of you that have attended my workshops know that's what you experience. Because you experience a very high, powerful, high vibration energy at those workshops. Charla and I in the last year have done 19 workshops, and all of them have been like that. And the people who have attended that will tell you that. We consistently get people saying, this is one of the most powerful energetic events I've ever been in my lives. Every workshop we get those comments. And so you see the workshops, the real goal behind it is not so much what I say, but it's about you having a very positive experience that changes your perception of how you're viewing what is your purpose in being involved in all of this. And that's why we do this. And that comes from when we come together collectively. Now, having said that, I don't have any dates at this time because we're having to wait and see what's going to happen with our trip to meet with the ambassador and possibly a follow-up trip to China. We have to wait and get some dates on that. Hopefully in the next week or two, I'll be able to start scheduling some more workshops, and I'll let you know at that time. But I want you to know, when projects start being funded, if an RV starts getting funded, the workshops won't start. That's when our real work really begins to change our world, because that's what we're here to do. And you will be able to have the funds to come. But that's what we really get to do. That's when our real work begins, and that's when things get exciting. Our world is changing. Our world is changing. I talked about that last week, that our world is changing because the energy around us in the earth is changing. That's why I so believe that all of this is in the process, is happening. It usually always takes a little longer than what we hope or what we want or what we think, but it is happening if you know what to look for. So folks, I want to thank you very much again. I would encourage all of you to join me on the radio program, and as I get my phone here and lined up so I can actually turn off the camera from a distance. So thank you very much. Love all of you. Love to have you call in on the radio program tomorrow night to join us, just to create conversation, and it's always a great time. I don't want to talk for the whole 2 hours, so love to have you call in, okay? All right, thanks a lot. Okay, bye-bye.